Hey guys, welcome back to another Tech Talk episode. Today we'll be talking about what it's like to be a student athlete or an Einstein Jordan if you listen to the last podcast. So today with us we have me, Amblessed, in the Academy of Health Professions Magnet, and I play cross country in the fall, indoor track in the winter, and lacrosse in the spring.
Hi guys, my name's Rainier. I'm in the Academy of Health Professions Magnet, and I also do cross country in the fall, indoor track in the winter, and lacrosse in the spring. Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm in the Academy of Health Professions Magnet, and I run cross country in the fall. I do indoor track in the winter, and I play lacrosse in the spring.
Hi, I'm Latrell, and I was in the Environmental Technology Magnet. I also did cross country in the fall and indoor track in the winter, and I will be doing outdoor track in the spring.
Hi, I'm Nylah. I am in the Graphic Print Communications Magnet, and I do soccer in the fall.
Hey guys, I'm Blake. I'm also in the Graphic Print Magnet, and I do indoor track in the winter and lacrosse in the spring.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about is what our lives are like as student athletes. And Bless, do you want to go first?
Yeah, just to start it off, overall, I think it's a pretty interesting experience. I've been doing it since ninth grade, so I would say it has its perks, and of course it has its detriments too. But overall, it's pretty fun. A lot of things that we learn from it, and a lot of things that we can take away from it too.
Yeah, we know that Western is basically it's really known for their academics, but don't forget about the sports. Sports aren't totally lacking. It has good aspects to it. So don't feel Western, they're going to be terrible at sports, because that's actually a lie. It's a myth. So yeah.
We just want states?
Right.
Okay.
Don't get crazy, but yeah. So definitely sports are good.
It's work. It's definitely work, but it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
I would actually say it teaches you to take up different skills like balancing your schoolwork and your social life and having a lot of time management. And I think that also goes into our pros and cons as far as being a student athlete.
Yeah, so we can start off with the first pro automatically. So we think that the first pro is meeting new people. And I think that that's a really big aspect of being a student athlete. You get there and you meet the people not just in your grade, but throughout the entire ninth grade to 12th graders. And I think it's a really cool experience, meeting people different from you in different classes and different magnets, but all sharing the same interest in that sport. And honestly, it's usually where you make some of your closest friends, at least I have to say. So I think it's the really great way for you to get out there, especially if you find yourself as a ninth grader or a new freshman not really knowing anyone. Try sports. I think it's a great way to get to know people.
Yeah, or just getting to know people just in your class, the people here Latrell, Ananya, Rainier, and Bless. So all of them indoor track. That's how we got closer, and now at indoor track practice it's you want to be with your friends, so the only way you got to do is make them. So once you do that, that's literally the hardest part, and then after that it's so easy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely remember the first day of soccer practice freshman year, and it was oh, you don't know anyone, but literally people are so open and they literally will come up to you. I remember one senior came up to me and she's oh, hey, and she got to know me better, and that kind of makes you feel comfortable. So don't be shy and don't be scared to get to know people, because everyone at Western is going to make sure that you are taken care of. So if you join a sport, they're going to take care of you. They're going to become your family.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everybody, what everybody has said so far. Because for me personally, coming off of COVID, I had felt I didn't really have much of a friend group, because since we missed pretty much our freshman and sophomore year, so that means I wasn't in school and I didn't really know anybody. And so when I first showed up to cross country practice first day, over the summer prior to junior year, it was quite awkward at first. However, but I was able to become friends with the closest people that I would say, and I value my time with them, and we have a lot of classes with each other now, and we've had a lot of great memories about that. So I'd say being a student athlete has transformed my social life in high school, and I am so grateful for that, because without it, I'm pretty sure I would not have had as much fun as I am now.
Yeah, and especially people who are coming from middle schools who have like a lot of the same people, like people who go to Sudbrook, like a lot of them go a lot of them go to Western, like Arbutus and everything. Like you already know people that are going to the school, so I feel like a lot of times you're like, oh, I don't need to like make new friends since I already have like an established friend group. But like I came from Sudbrook and like a lot of the people here also did, and so it's like like I don't know. Like, I obviously knew people, but then, like, doing sports, I was able to meet, like, so many other people. So I feel like it's just such, like, an interesting, like, dynamic, you know what I mean? Like, everyone is able to, like, intermingle and, like, and, like, meet new people and just, you know, become close with other people.
And then, like, when you find people that, like, feed off your energy and build up your energy so much, it makes you enjoy life so much more because you're spending so much time at school. But when you find people that you really like doing it with, it makes it that much better.
Yeah, and also along with that goes with, like, along with meeting new people, you are starting to, like, stay active and even could be trying something new and trying to do something different. I'm sure, like, all of us have had experiences where we've wanted to try something new, so that's where sports come in. It allows you to try different things. Yeah,
I can definitely speak on that. I remember I didn't do lacrosse until last year in the spring, and I definitely didn't want to do it because I had never done lacrosse before, never seen it, literally didn't know what I was doing. But because my friends pushed me and really encouraged me to try it, I actually really, really loved it. So I'm really grateful that they like inspired me to do that. And again, it's something new. Like even if it's something that you haven't tried before, you know, just go to the tryouts, go to the practices, see if it's something that you can do. Don't be afraid. I think that's the biggest thing. Like always step out, take the risk. Because if you do really like want to do it, then you should actually try. You know. Yeah. So I think that that's a great experience too.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So get out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because, like, for me personally, I grew up as a football player. I know, shocking. Right? Shocking. And I didn't do football my freshman year. Yeah, it's been a joke. But anyways, like, the idea of running was quite kind of foreign for me. Like, because I never saw myself as a runner. Because, like, I hated running at practice. I hated that, which is why I was a lineman or whatever. But, I remember freshman year when we were doing like the fitnessgram stuff and like they recorded our mile time. I ran a 9-minute mile time, and like for me to join a sole running sport where you run 3+ miles and me running 5 miles at practice, like nothing, like that was just crazy. But however, like it greatly transformed my mindset, and like I feel like I'm much more like I have much more growth mindset towards like trying new things now because I was able to accumulate to like what I thought would be a struggle and like found joy in that. And now I can like, I'm proud of the progress I made. And like the fact that I'm doing well in track, I did decent in cross country. But yeah, like it's just a great thing. Like it really changes your mindset. And like, I'm more encouraged to try new things.
Yeah. I also didn't do lacrosse before high school. So I joined lacrosse as a freshman. And, you know, like the coach at this school, like Coach Dodson, he's always trying to get like freshmen, sophomores to join. And like, he's like, oh, we'll teach you new skills. And like, yeah, like he taught us like from the bottom up. And then also with like staying active, like, yeah, there are days of practice when it's going to be like grueling and you won't want to do the work because it's going to be a horrible workout, you know, track, Death Valley 500s.
Ooh, if you're thinking about any track, just be prepared, you know? Yeah, you see that hill across from the bus loop, get to know that.
But yeah, it's really like, you know, it's good, like for your health, you know, like that's pretty self-explanatory. Everyone tells you that, but like it is.
Yeah. Also, if you're like thinking of doing more than one sport, because, okay, so we're not saying don't just do one, like just try multiple, like everybody was saying to stay in shape. Like I did indoor track because I was like, okay, I need to do something in lacrosse off season, you know, stay in shape and stuff like that. And at first I was like Latrell, I don't really know how to run. I just run. Like I didn't know there was a type of way to run. Like I didn't know there were forms. People talk about your stride looks so good. Like what is that? But now I know. But just like even just pushing yourself just to stay active, like for conditioning, actually turned out to be pretty good. So now I just like kept with it. I'm like really into it. So yeah. don't just limit yourself to one sport.
And yeah, along with the benefits, like Rainier was saying, of course we all know like the good things that come with doing exercise. But just think about it, like, would you do 3 miles on your own? Would you do Death Valley 500s on your own? Like, no. A lot of the time, your teenage life is going to school and going back home, going to school and going back home. So doing a sport really encourages you to do something else, to get active. It's a lot easier to do a workout like that with a group of people that you're having fun and hanging out with instead of on your own. So just think of that. If you do want to get active in that way, just know that sports is a good avenue for that.
Definitely. I also think like it's also nice to get involved with sports because you start to get to know different teachers or coaches. Me, for soccer, we've had the same coach for the last 3 years, and then we got a new one this year. But my experience with both of them has been really great because they're always willing to push you and they're always willing to be there for you. Like, you could be best friends with your coach and your teacher at the same time, and it's a really great experience. And it's really nice when it comes to your senior year and you're looking for recommendation letters, guys.
Yes.
For me personally, I had Miss Higgins, who is one of the track coaches, write one of my recommendations, and like it has greatly helped my stats. I've gotten to a few colleges because of her. Like, if it wasn't for her, then like, yeah, you want to have those, you want to have those connections.
Yeah.
And like also, like the benefit of like having your teachers as like a coach, they really like they're more. I'd say like they're more lenient towards you because like again like with the demanding like work, especially like for AP English last year. They're more lenient and they give you the opportunity and they're more understanding of like what you have to go through because they get to see that you're putting the work in outside of school to like do stuff. So that itself is a benefit because the teachers can like they can be more flexible with like their scheduling and like you can turn in work, like say like you're just exhausted and you need like an extension, they'll be fine with it.
Yeah, and I also want to say that like some of the sports like the coaches come from outside of school. Like, I know, like, some of, like, the soccer coaches, like, the football coach, the boys lacrosse coach. So, like, that's sort of, like, a different dynamic. But, like, for, like, other sports, like, you know, the ones that we've done, like, cross country, lacrosse, and track, like Latrell was just saying, like, with those teachers, like, it's just you start to build, like, a really strong connection with them. And I know with, like, especially some of them, like Miss Rowe, like we go and see her every single morning and like we talk to her and, you know, she lets us like put her stuff in her room and everything. And so it's just like, you're just able to like have a really strong relationship with them just like outside of the sport. And then like when you get to the sport, like, you know, it's just a more understanding.
And yeah, kind of like what Latrell and Rainier said, like they just get, like you get to know the teachers or your coaches a lot better and they get to know you a lot better. And like Blake, I don't know if you remember, but last year, like we had this track meet and you were there until like 10.
Yes.
You remember that? Yeah. Miss Higgins literally let you take a nap in class because she knew how tired you were.
Like Miss Higgins, her and McAvoy, they're definitely like just being close to your teachers is such a plus because like I took a nap because honestly, like again, track meets hours. So you gotta we'll probably talk about it more later, but like you gotta it's stamina, not just for running, but like staying awake.
But yeah, we can't stress that enough. You know, like if you know your teacher / coach for 4 years of your high school career, like they know you inside and out. Like they can talk about your strengths and your abilities on the field, off the field, in their classrooms, outside of their classroom. Like that is something that you want them to say on their recommendations for colleges. So it's the greatest thing, honestly. So think about that, honestly.
But we also want to stress, don't like start slacking because you think your teachers know you very well. Yes, they may know you very well and they know that like, oh, you're going to do sports and you're so involved, but that doesn't mean like stop with your schoolwork. Keep going and they're going to be understanding of it.
So with that being said, take advantage of your opportunities and use your resources. So if you are like slacking in English, Miss Higgins, for an example, Miss Higgins is literally an English teacher. If you don't understand something, go to her. Or if she doesn't have it, then she will literally tell your teacher or let them know that, hey, this person could use da-da-da-da-da, or this person may need to come in because sports, they do got that GPA thing. So if you're going down, they're going to help you get back up because they want you to do the sport just as much as you do. So just be mindful of that and always be aware and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Because remember, again, like this, the whole topic of this podcast is to be a student athlete. You know, the student part always comes first. So always remember that your education and your academics need to be above like the first priority of the athleticism. So again, use what you need to use to keep that GPA up.
On top of that, I also wanted to bring up like being able to engage in a team atmosphere. So me being a person that plays a team sport, which is soccer, is definitely something that's really collaborative, and you are going to be able to build like have team building skills and have a way to work with other people. It's very nice because you're going to be friends with those people. That's going to be like your family, and you guys are going to be able to get along. And there's definitely a lot of benefits to having the team experience and having people that you can rely on, especially like to engage in a team atmosphere allows you to like rely on other people, especially like as you go through the years of like growing up as an athlete and you're continuously doing the same sport. So I think also another pro is like engaging in a team atmosphere. It like allows you to rely on other people, and like you're going to get to know people from different grades, and each grade can be able to help you and get through your high school experience, but also allows you to work well with other people like on the field or like outside of school too, if you guys are trying to prepare for a senior night and such.
So I think the biggest thing too with this team atmosphere is that a lot of people are scared to go into a sport because, again, they don't know how good they want to be, like, matched up or compared to other people with, like, level of skill and things of that sort. But honestly, that shouldn't be anyone's worry because I know that every sport has, like, a team atmosphere that cheers each other on. And I know, like, with cross country, the biggest thing is, you know, we're all running these 3 miles. We all know how hard it is, how much it hurts. So we're all cheering each other on. We're all running beside you, clapping you on, encouraging you. So definitely don't be afraid if you're trying to go into a sport wondering your level of skill, because everyone is really supportive. Everyone is making sure that you know that we know how you feel.
Yeah, like also at practices too, everyone is dying as well. So if you feel like you're dying, don't worry. Just look left and right. We're dying. We're dying too. So don't feel like, oh, I don't know why I feel like I'm the only one that's like not fast enough, or I feel like I'm the only one I'm not getting it. Everybody moves at a different pace, and everybody is encouraging everybody. So if you feel down, make sure that you're with people in your sport that you know will build you back up. So
and like even the sports that like aren't super like teamy, like there's obviously sports that you know are like a team, like soccer and like lacrosse, like you have to have like that dynamic with everyone. But like even sports like cross country, or you know, like even track, like you're by yourself basically, like running that event or like running that race. And so like even in those sports you may be like, oh, how am I gonna get like a team, like how am I gonna feel supported by other people? But like you really are, like everyone's like Amblessed was saying, like everyone cheers each other on and like make sure that, you know, you're feeling okay. And like, you know, if you ever like feel sick or whatever, you know, that happens a lot, especially in like, you know, sports like soccer, like track, like there's days when you're gonna feel like you have to throw up or something. And so everyone is gonna make sure that you're okay, and like is gonna make sure that you can like, you know, live. And so even those sports that like you don't think are gonna be like super like teamy, you know, they still have like the aspects, like the team aspects.
Yeah, like kind of like what Blake was saying, misery loves company has never been so real. But also, like, I'll never forget the first day of cross country in freshman year when we were literally running the warm up, and then we were running in the trails, or no, we weren't running in the trails, but we were part of it was in the trails. And I was like, okay, it's whatever, like we're probably gonna be slow. I haven't run all summer. And I'll never forget, like the seniors were cheering us on when we were doing our run. Like that was so weird to me. We weren't even running a meet, and they were just cheering us on at practice. But yeah, it's a really nice environment.
Yeah, the biggest things, we're always giving high fives, you know, to each other, fist bumps, things of that sort. If you've ever been to any of the meets, there's so much cheering. Like, we're all each other's cheerleaders. Like, we don't have designated cheerleaders here at Western.
Shout out to Element. We miss you.
Yeah, we all become our own designated cheerleaders, and it's honestly really great because you see that we all, like, support one another.
yeah. For those who like don't know, Element, senior last year, he graduated. He's at UMBC now, Doing great. We miss you. But anyways, he was like the biggest cheerleader in indoor track. Like
You would hear his voice resounding
yes, like
through the
around
track
the
meets.
wanted to hear
yes,
it.
like Western, we always had the best cheering because, well, one, Elman, he was just great. Like even when he wasn't running in a meet or if he couldn't run, he would still come, show out there. For those who did indoor last year, the time he brought the tutu and the pom poms, like at States, like be that person. We need more elements in the world.
But yeah, for me personally, like when I'm like up to line up against an event, like I get very anxious before I run, and like I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like even like I'm not even running yet, but I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But however, like one of the things that I think about that soothes me, like before I start running, is that like I know that the team is gonna be there cheering for me, and regardless of how I do, and like that's like one of the things that encouraged me to like want to like win my heat because like I'm doing it for the team, and like it's gonna be crazy. And also one of the better things is that while especially running the 500, we finish right where our team is at. So like it'd be so hype once you like you finish it and like it's all close. Everybody be like, ooh. but yeah, it's like having that team dynamic, even though like it's an individual effort, but like that atmosphere just makes you want to push to like do better. So yeah.
Also, another thing, your team will fight for you too. In lacrosse season, the girls begin I don't know, soccer season, like I'm pretty sure it's in any team sport, basketball, boys, girls, does not matter. Those away schools, they be getting real bold, and if they try something to you, just know your team is going to back you up. Like there have been many occasions, I can probably attest for like many sports, at least I know for lacrosse. Kenwood, I'm shouting y'all out. So I'm calling y'all out. I'm ready for y'all this season. Anyways,
we stick with one
we
another.
don't condone violence, but we will stick up for our own, and that's gonna be a universal thing. Like it doesn't matter if you feel like if you're really shy on the team, we're going to back you up regardless. So.
And I know that like also like the coaches love when you support one another. Like if someone's like doing their homework on like the sides of like a track meet or like playing a game or something, they're like, we're on the track right now. Like
Joey,
yeah. Get up and cheer for your team. And like in cross country season, like whenever our coaches would like see us doing something that wasn't fighting, because that happened a lot this year. Like they would just get so excited because like it's just such a nice thing to see people supporting each other, and you know to see people like saying that you know that they want others to do well. And so I just feel like that's also a really important part.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's like a big family in a way, and they will protect you. They're going to be looking out for you. But I definitely think there's also some cons to having that team atmosphere, because I'm not going to lie. There are going to be people, they're not going to like you. You're going to have to get over it. Because at the end of the day, on the field, you guys are going to be like, you guys are going to have to be like best friends. But off the field, you guys don't have to be. And that's okay. Like, I'm cool with everyone on my team, but if I wasn't cool with somebody, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't like you, and I'm not going to take the ball away from you. Like, that's one of the biggest things, like, that my coach enforced this year is, like, I don't care what is going on, what beef you guys have. If you're on that field, you guys are going to be best friends until that whistle is blown, and then you guys can get off the field and hate each other again. But I'm not saying, like, oh, go hate people. Like, no, that's not the environment I'm trying to encourage. I'm just saying it's going to be natural for people not to want to support you and not want to be there, but it's okay because you have other people, you have other teammates that are going to take care of you.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. There's like so many different people from so many different backgrounds. You're bound to have like arguments and disagreements, but you just have to find a way to get over that and realize that you're doing something together and that it benefits everyone if you can actually like get along.
Yeah, and just as I said that, like we were hyping up the support of the teams and how everyone is cheering each other on. So don't be that one person that cannot do that or does not do that or has to hold up above one another, their level of skill or just like how they're faster than someone or better or like can do something better than someone else. Like don't be that person. That dampens the entire team atmosphere. That makes the sport unenjoyable. So we really encourage that you be the support, you be the cheerleaders, like we said before. Don't choose to be the person that like just ruins the atmosphere for the team.
Yeah, like if you are like so good, oh, you've been doing this sport since you were a kid. Okay, we still wear the same jersey, we play for the same team, we go to the same school. you're not special right now. Like, you may be special on your club team, AU, whatever, but this is a school team. Let's get real. So instead of trying to gatekeep talent or just be like, just hold your, like Amblessed was saying, hold yourself above, help people out. If they don't understand how to do a move, or if they want to perfect their skill, help them out, make more people that are on that level instead of just being you on the top. And also, cliques are real. Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like, this is high school. Like, cliques are just gonna exist. That's inevitable.
And yeah, like, going back to like what you guys said about like how like it doesn't matter if you've been doing a sport since you were 5 years old, or like it doesn't matter how long you've been like exposed to the sport. Everybody's replaceable in high school sports. The coaches will put forth whoever does best for the team. So it doesn't matter like where your ego's at or how good you think you are. It always comes down to who is performing best at the needed time. And so then again, that goes out to people with the big egos. Like, don't be that type of person, because like it's quite humbling for you to be replaced by somebody like that has like less experience. However, they're doing better for the team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. Like, it's easy to be replaced, but it's also very easy to feel like, oh, you're going to be the better person, or you're going to be like above them. Like, don't feel that way and don't be that person, because that's you're going to have a negative impact on other players. And I can tell you that sometimes you are going to be sitting there and being like, why am I not playing? And the coach is going to be like, I'm trying to give these other people a learning experience. But if you're not allowing that, that's on you. Because instead of being the person that's like, oh my gosh, I'm the best, I should be the one that's always scoring goals, always doing this and that, be the one like, I'm going to be a teacher and I'm going to help my teammate out.
Yeah, and usually it's not, I don't know how many of the sports it's individuals usually winning. It's a team effort. It's the team that you want to win. So you want everyone putting in their effort to help the team to win, not thinking about just me. You know, there's no I in team type of vibes.
Yeah, like, don't forget assists. Like, for those team sports, assists are stats too. So you don't have to make the goal, but you can be that one touch. So just remember that too.
Yeah, like also if you're one of those people who has like one of those big egos, you know, like you're good, you have like that natural talent, like, you know, I can respect that. But also like those people that are going to be like working hard for it and are going to be putting in the work to get better, they might surpass you. You can't just rely on that raw talent to like get you by. Like, you are going to come to a point where that's not the only thing that can, you know, put you up there. And like Latrell was saying, like, everyone's replaceable. Like, that can like really, you know, get you put down a couple pegs like after that.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes into like another one of our cons, which is exhaustion and like kind of the extra hours and being prepared for everything. And this doesn't go with like the big ego, but just be prepared as an athlete to know like extra hours. Like, as you guys know, as track, like running track, like that stuff lasts hours. You guys have to be ready for any type of weather. Like for soccer, y'all are not going to be going inside if it's raining. You guys are going to be playing in the rain, and you have to be ready for that. So don't be like, oh, you know, it's raining outside, my coach is going to, no. They're not going to say, oh, no practice, unless it's like county mandated and it's like something that's super bad. Be prepared for any and everything.
Oh yeah, especially for that, prepare for any type of weather, because we had to run back to school stranded, and
In
it
a
was
storm.
storming. Storming. I'm talking like drenched top
Like
to bottom.
the worst rain you've ever seen in your life. Like, it was about to, like, a lightning bolt was about to come. Like, it just
And land
right in
on
front
each
me.
of us. Bad.
And like it was like what made it even like it was fun, but like it was like what made it even worse is the fact like we had been running like 4 miles at that point in time, and and the rest was uphill.
Yeah.
And then
It was a bad
So, yeah.
uphill too.
Be prepared for all types of weather, because like what our coaches said, it don't matter if it's cold, hot, any weather is
Rain or
good running
shine.
weather. Don't matter,
Rain or
rain or
shine.
shine. So
Unless you're getting hit with that lightning bolt, you're on the field.
No, for real.
Yeah, and like we can't stress it enough. The exhaustion is crazy. Like, just think about how tired you are after school. Like, how long are we in school? Like 6.75 hours. Like, we are there for a while, and just to be there for like 2-3 more hours doing intensive work. It's not like you're there sleeping for 2 hours. You're there running, putting your body to its test, to its limits, each and every practice, multiple days a week, you're gonna be tired. And again, like, we're not like putting you off from doing the sport, but you just need to know, like, can you handle that? Are you prepared for that? Your body's gonna hurt. Your body's gonna need the rest, like more rest than you usually get. So are you ready for that?
Yeah, and also if you don't eat breakfast, if you don't normally drink water, if you're doing a sport, you gotta. I mean, I don't, but like I gotta. So like I be feeling it in practice. They be like, Blake, where's your water? I'll be like, what water? So don't be like me. You need water because trust, after running it and you have that dry throat, nothing's helping you. Cause what water fountains?
No, the Armory doesn't have water.
No diss to the school, but like it's a 45% chance it has water or cups. So you always got to be prepared. And with that also being said, got to have a balance. So not just an academic balance, but like a health balance as well. So like I said, if you're not eating, you're going to want to get into the habit of doing that more often because you need energy. And academic wise, know what time you're going to get home or around that. Know what time. Rest is important also. So you want to map out when you can take like a little power nap or something like that. And we have due dates as well. So you have to take that all into account and do it accordingly. And you may not get it right the first time or the first season, but you'll know what not to do the next time. So don't get into any bad habits in that way.
Yeah, and with all of that, like, I mean, even with, like, physical exhaustion, there's, like, mental exhaustion. Like, you're tired from taking all those tests every single day, and then on top of that, everybody's talking about how they're going to go home, take a nap, eat something, but you know you're going to be in that locker room changing to be running in the rain or in, like, the scalding heat of like a bajillion degrees, and you know everyone's at home in their beds, so you just have to be prepared to deal with that. It shouldn't make you not do a sport, but like Amblessed was saying, you have to be prepared for that.
By no means, like, us talking about like how tired we are, it's not to discourage you from signing up from a sport. It's just you have to consider, like, it's an inevitable thing to, like, it will happen. You will be tired. So that's just one of the main aspects of being a student athlete that you have to deal with. But yeah, just don't be discouraged if, like, because you get tired about it. Everybody's tired. That's one of the main things of why, like, we can bond over it. Like, we always talk about how we're exhausted and we complain how all the time how we want practice to be canceled and whatnot so we can go home. But yeah, like, that no means like get out there and still try at least, because like everybody around you is going through the same things.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and like I definitely agree with that, but also like with what Ananya was saying, like the mental exhaustion, like sport burnout is a thing. Like every season, towards the end of the season, you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm done. I'm so tired. I've been running every day for like 3 months straight, and then like with doing like cross country and then track, it's like 6-7 months that I've just been like straight running, and it's like I can't do it anymore. But you know, just like that, also you should like keep going. Like it's not worth it to just quit like at the end, or like, you know, when your team needs you or something.
You've come so far.
You've come so far.
It's definitely important to always follow through. And I think that mental exhaustion comes from like us being able to maintain a balance. Like over our 4 years at Western, we have found a way to balance our sports and our academics and our social lives. Like, don't mislead yourself and tell yourself, oh my gosh, I can do this and this and this. If you can't do it and you know you can't, own that. It's okay to say, like, I can't do that. Like, it's okay to be like, oh, I can't go out this weekend. I have to catch up on my homework. It's okay to say, like, oh, hey, coach, I need to go to coach class. I need to take care of this grade. That is okay, because oftentimes your coach is going to understand and be like, okay, if you need to take care of that grade, they want you to take care of that grade. Don't put too much on your mind and on your body that it's going to wear you out. That's why you need to have a balance between your sport, between school, between your outside of school life, everything. It's so important to have a balance.
And at the end of the day, what makes you like eligible to be a student athlete is your grades. Like, you need that at least a 2.0. So like, if you know like your grades are slipping, like, it's okay to like take some time out and like recover and like make sure you're designating enough attention towards your schoolwork.
Yeah, and don't brush off what you're doing. Like, being a student athlete, take pride in that, because a lot of people just can't multitask. So to be able to do that, that's like some serious stuff, because there are a lot of people, a lot of like friends you go to school with that are just like, they can't even keep up just going to school every day and coming home. And for you to do that with being an athlete, 3 seasons a year, maybe having a job or internship, that's like commendable. Like, shout out to you.
And another big thing that we want to bring up, of course, with the exhaustion and then taking time again, like extra time to sleep or things of that sort, is that it definitely does cut down time that you have that other people would you normally have. Again, most people are going home after school at 2:15, and you're staying back until 4:35. So you do have less and less time to do the things that you want to do. And then if you're adding like those power naps or things of that sort, again, your time is just getting cut back even more. So it's how are you using that time? How are you prioritizing? How are you like figuring out your life so that you're not falling behind? Because it does get really, really overwhelming. Like sometimes you just have to put yourself above your schoolwork. You have to put your own like sanity and body's needs above whether like you have something to do or not. So you definitely have to get organized. You definitely have to use time management skills and prioritization to not get so overwhelmed that you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, because, like, you know, how we were talking about those track meets earlier, like, they go until, like, sometimes, like, 10 o'clock. So when you get home and, like, you know you have an assignment due the next day, but all you want to do is sleep, it's just, like, there's so many decisions that you have to make as a student athlete of, like, where you want to, like, portion your time, like, what you want to do, like, you know, doing your homework, like, right when you get home. But just knowing that you're so exhausted from, like, everything you did that day. Like, you had a million tests, and then you had to go and practice, or you had, like, a game or a meet or something. And so, like Amblessed was saying, sometimes you do kind of have to, like, put yourself above your schoolwork. Like, you definitely shouldn't fall behind. Like, there's always days to, like, catch up and then, like, again, like, communicate with, like, your teachers and everything about what's been going on. But, yeah, there's definitely, like, times when you have to make tough decisions about stuff, like even with like clubs and stuff too, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, with that also like being said, so if there is a track meet, there are like, I know we said earlier, like make sure you cheer, but like there are going to be times where you're going to be able to get a little bit of homework done, a little bit of reading, so just get that done, but don't like make that, okay, run, open the books. Like, no, run, cheer a little, read a little, cheer a little, run. Like, come on, you got to be a little consistent in just making sure you're like being a student athlete at all times, like not just athlete, not just student. Find the balance.
Yeah, taking care of your mental health and also cheering on your other teammates is very, very important. But I also think like everything that we've been talking about with having the balance and such leads to also like sometimes it can be frustrating when, like you guys said, like you guys won states, but maybe it's not getting recognized as much as you would like it to be. Or
Not enough.
yeah, so just know, like, even though you may not be getting the outward appreciation from the school, especially if you feel like you've been doing so well, like your team's been doing so well and it's just getting unrecognized, just know, like, you and your teammates are working so hard to balance your schoolwork, get good grades, and take care of your mental health and still be able to balance a social life with that. Just be able to know, just appreciate yourself, even if the school is not appreciating you on that.
Right, because like honestly, I must be like in full honesty, being a student athlete is a flex. Like I walk around like I am a student athlete, like because many other people like they're not capable of doing that. Like, but everybody is capable, but like some people just aren't. But yeah, like even though you may like not get the recognition, because like I know for a fact, like this year our team, like our cross country team won a meet at one time, and like that, like I don't know if you like guys know, but like it's very difficult to win a meet because like you all have to get high placings, like
Yes.
and like running 3 miles at a high time. Anyways,
It's not fun, nor is it easy.
yeah, that part. But and like I remember going to school the next day, and like there are shout outs for like certain sports. Like they do talk about your statistics and how well you do, and like they do give you, but like there are some sports that are more overshadowed than others, and like that can be frustrating at times. But like at the end of the day, just realize that like your effort will be recognized, and like you know deep down that like you're winners.
With that being said, you're a student athlete, be a fan for another sport. Like being a fan is actually, it's going to other games and just showing your support outside of your own sport is really fun. And also, if you do play a sport, free tickets, so like don't let that go to waste.
Yep.
So like during basketball season, like go to those basketball games and just be, I don't want to say be crazy, but like be crazy. Like just show your support because you will want it for yourself. So other people want it for them as well. So go the extra mile.
Yeah, fill up those stands, fill up those bleachers for the other sports, especially how we're talking about not really getting much recognition. Like, be that recognition for that team. Show them that you see what they're doing, you understand their work that they're putting in, like see them win a couple games.
Yeah. If the team isn't embarrassed of how you cheer for them, you're doing it wrong.
Shout out to Danielle Weeks.
Oh yeah, so like even if it's just a small group, make sure that small group is the only thing you hear in the stadium, in the court. Like make sure you're loud.
Yeah, I will never forget my senior night, and Blake came to my senior night with a huge poster and was literally running around screaming. And I will never forget that.
Liked me.
Yeah, and
that's the goal.
It's very difficult sometimes when you're playing a sport that's very like not celebrated as much, especially if it's like soccer or lacrosse, like something like that that's not so much celebrated, and you have people coming to look after you and like coming to cheer you on, whether it's the other team, like the girls team. We love to go cheer on the boys team all the time, and maybe they might not do it for us, but we're going to go cheer them on because we know how much work it takes to be a student athlete, you know?
And then with all being said, our final con that we have is the potential injuries. That's a big one because, again, doing a sport means pushing your body to limits that you didn't know you had. So that comes with tearing muscles, pushing and pulling, all kinds of tendons, and everything in your body just tends to hurt at the end. So it's, what are you doing? Are you eating the right food? Are you sleeping enough? Are you drinking enough water? Because if you're not, your body is going to be continuously in the worst state possible. And that's not the point of doing a sport. That's not the point of exercise and working out. You want your body to be in its optimal condition state. So the way to do that is by doing the right things for your body. But just be aware of that. Like, things that would have never happened to you if you didn't run, if you didn't do soccer, if you didn't do basketball, are going to start happening to you. Like, you have all kinds of injuries. So just watch out for that.
Yeah, and sometimes like you really just cannot prepare for it. Like a concussion, like I ain't see that ball coming. Like you're just not gonna be ready. But like when it happens, okay, you can't erase it. So you got to do what you have to do to get better. And I can attest, for being in concussion protocol, you have to listen to the protocols. You can't practice while you're doing it because that's not protocol. So you just gotta do what you have to do to put your health first. So no matter how much you want to go back on or you want to seem tough to people, please do not try and seem tough. Like injuries, they can be like fatal. Like y'all see the news sometimes, like it can be like really bad, and you have to be thankful that you're not that really bad case, but that also means you can't risk it to getting there. So when you're hurt, you got to sit out. No matter how much you want to go back out there because you are so passionate about it, you got to sit down and you got to be able to get better so you can get back to that.
Yeah. Like there's those injuries like concussions or like, you know, getting hit with something, like how it happens in like lacrosse or like football or something. And there's like those other sports where like I've gotten injured like a million times, like in all of like the running seasons and stuff like that. Just because like I didn't stop to stretch or something. So I feel like that's super important. You just need to like slow down and remember like what's best for your body, and you need to, you know, remember to stretch. Stretching, like I hate stretching. It's so annoying because like at the end of practice you're just like, I just want to go home. But then like actually stretching will prevent injury, and it will help you like, you know, keep being able to do your sport for the whole season.
Stretching is not lame.
Stretching is not lame.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Like, why do people like frown on stretching?
Yeah.
Like, you're just looking out for your body. But like, again, like with that being said, even like when you deal with injuries, don't be afraid to communicate that with your teammates and your coaches, because the most important thing is making sure that you are in like the best condition as possible, because that is your body that you're dealing with. And like, I don't know if you know, but like you need to survive. So like you want to make sure your body is in its best shape, because you don't want to risk like say you mildly pulled a muscle. You don't want to risk tearing that muscle and then like risking your ability to like being able to walk or whatever. So like always communicate to your coaches, to your teammates, and like take the steps to ensure that you heal properly.
Yeah, like I know for me, like last year, like I was constantly, like I was never in good health last year, but because of my coaches, like what Latrell said, like I was able to actually like figure out what like the issue was. And it's like getting injured in your sport impacts everything. Like in junior year, like in HP, we have to go to the hospital, right? My knees were clicking. They clicked every time I would turn. It was the most annoying thing in the world. And like it messes up like your school because you're not focused, because you're like, oh, I did bad at practice the other day. And it just messes up everything. So be healthy.
Yeah, same with what she's saying. Like, it's not just, oh, no, I have to miss practice. No, now you're going to be limping all day in school. Like, it's going to affect every other area in your life. So another thing that I want to bring up with that is if you need to miss a practice, don't be scared to, like, tell your coach, I'm going to need to take this practice off. I can't keep, like, doing this to my body, you know? Like, a lot of times there's a fear of, like, oh, I'm going to, like, disappoint my coach. I'm going to let the team down. But sometimes you just need to do what's best for you, especially when it comes to injuries. Like, we all understand, like, your body needs time to heal. So take that step if you need to.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, you're gonna like let them down even more when you like keep going and then get even more injured.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, I'm going to say this. Don't milk your injuries. Literally, like, if you're injured and you think it's something serious, like you tore your ACL, you need to tell your coach, and they will be like, okay, you need to go to the doctor, have a doctor's note, all this stuff. But don't be like, oh, I hurt myself, and, like, the pain's going to go away in, like, 24 hours. Don't be like, oh, I hurt myself yesterday, but it's, like, starting to feel fine, but I don't want to risk it. Like, if you know, like, you're doing fine and you have a doctor's note, don't sit there and milk your injury and be like, I can't play. Because if you know that you are fully capable of playing and the doctor says that, then that's when your coach is going to get upset with you because you're starting to use the injury as an excuse to not play.
Yeah, that makes you, like, have a bad image because, like, it just shows, like, honestly, laziness, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you know you're capable and, like, you just don't feel like doing it and use it, and, like, that's just a terrible excuse to use because there are actual people that are fighting back from injuries, that are trying to get back on the field or back on the court, back on the track, and, like, you're using, like, not a real reason for you not to do something when they're equally trying to do the same thing, but they're actually dealing with that problem. So, yeah, don't be that person at all.
You're wasting yours and others' time. Like, that's just not cute.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the end of our pros and cons. So that kind of goes into, like, now we want to talk about more about balancing how to be a student athlete because we didn't all find our, like, I guess, like, our our balance right away. Like, 9th grade year, you know, I have all these, like, no, I was all over the place. Literally, I was all over the place. And it's so important to, like, really take to account of making yourself a schedule and scheduling out your time so you really understand it. Like, something that I started to do was, like, okay, as soon as I get home, I'm going to shower, and then I'm going to start on my schoolwork. And then if I need to, like, make sure if I have a club, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm going to let my coach know I'm going to be late, and then I'm going to come home. I'm going to go to practice, go home, and get all my stuff down. Because if you don't have that balance, you're going to get overwhelmed. And it's going to get to a point where you're going to feel like, I can't do it. And you know that you can. It's just you are starting to overwhelm yourself because you're not balancing out your time correctly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Nylah. Because, like, for me personally, when I went into Western 9th grade year, first quarter was my worst grades, like of all high school. Even though, like, I'm taking much more difficult classes now, but the fact that, like, I did football and, like, I just didn't know how to, like, handle my time, it really took a toll on my grades. So, like, you definitely need to, like, find what works best for you while also, like, prioritizing, like, both your academics and your sports.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like, don't expect it to. This can take time, and it may change as you go deeper into your high school life. Like, in freshman, junior year, I thought it was cool. I was chilling, and then AP classes, boom. I was like, okay, so I need to change this. I need to tweak this a bit because AP classes is a big load. No, not hating on AP classes, but you got to accommodate to that. So it's just about knowing when you need to change, knowing when something doesn't feel right or it's just not working. You have to notice that.
So we kind of want to talk about, like, some of our experiences. So, Latrell, how do you balance your time?
Okay, so, like, I don't know if y'all know me, but I have a lot on my plate this year. I put like it's so funny because I tell people I'm taking 6 AP exams this year, which is a lot considering that I have sports on top of that, and also I'm also involved in a variety of honor societies. I'm in 3 honor societies while being the vice president of National Technical Honor Society, which is another thing that I need to prioritize with my time. And, like, I know, like, you're probably thinking, like, is this man crazy? Like, what is he doing? because like honestly, I think I'm crazy too, but it's okay. But one of the main things that I do is that when I know that I'm getting overwhelmed, I designate one day out of the week of just chilling, like not doing a single thing. Schoolwork, nope, just pure relaxation, because there are times like the other 6 days a week, I'm working nonstop. I'm always doing something. AP Bio, notes. You gotta do 10 pages of notes. Calculus, English, Miss Lewis, vocab, like reading. I have So like it's a lot going on. So like one of the main things that I do is like making sure that I have one day to just purely relax, and like that helps like me rebuild my mental health, help like make sure like, okay, I need to get this straight, I need to do this, like make sure that I rebuild myself. And also one of the main things that I do is that like while I'm working on schoolwork, because like it is a lot to do during the weekdays, I space it out. So like I'm not just cramming a whole bunch of schoolwork at once, because that is greatly detrimental to your mental health. So like what I do is like, okay, I'll focus on my calculus homework, then I'll take a break for like 5, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on how I feel. And then I'll go to like the next subject, the next class, and whatnot. So like that's one of the main things that I do, and that has greatly benefited me. And like this is like honestly like this is like the best academic stretch that I've been on, despite having so many responsibilities. And like so that's one of the main things that I do, and like it greatly helped me out.
What about you, Ananya?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the same boat as Latrell. I have like 5 AP exams. I'm in 2 honor societies, and I'm vice president of the class council. And senior year kind of like hit me. Like I don't know. A lot of people say junior year is more busy, but I feel like this year was a lot more busy for me. But like in addition to having like a sport every day, I have like 2 hours of dance after the sport, and then there's like loads of homework. But I kind of do what Latrell does. Like, Fridays, I will not touch homework. Like, I will not even open my backpack on Fridays. It's not happening. But also, I don't know if you guys, like, you probably don't know this about me, but, like, I take extremely long showers. Like, it helps. It helps. Like, 40 minutes out of every single day, I will take a shower. And it's nice. Like, you get to relax, and you don't have to think about anything. Yeah.
Does not help the earth.
All right. What about you, Rainier?
Yeah, I'm definitely also in that, cramming my schedule this year. I'm taking 6 AP exams. I'm doing, a sport every season. And I'm also doing lacrosse this winter, yeah. And then I also volunteer at the fire department every week. So there's a lot. But honestly, I really do like the same stuff as them. Like, I feel like we've all like even though we don't talk about it, we all just sort of like came to the same path. Like we don't talk about like how we use our time, but like I feel like all of us, we know that we need to take a day, or like we know that we can't just like work like constantly. And also something I would recommend is like, especially during like your senior year when you can, like I would recommend like taking like an aid or like a seminar period so that you have time to like do your work when you can, because you can't do that like after school if you're doing student athlete stuff. And then just like get home and like sort of like get into like a routine, like get home, like take a shower, not like 40-minute showers, but like
It's a process. It works.
And then, like you can like eat or like do some homework, maybe like eat in between like doing homework so that you kind of like have a break in between, just like naturally. And then like get to sleep at a good time, because, when you sleep, your brain will work better the next day.
How about you, Amblessed?
Yeah, for me, the whole spiel about, again, 6 AP classes, sports every season, clubs, like the leader of clubs or whatever. There's a lot of stuff. Again, we've all established that we're crazy people. But a big thing that Rainier said for me that works is sleeping. Like when I get home, don't text me. I am sleeping. Like from 5 to 8 or 5 to 9, I just take a really long nap, and then I get to my work. So again, that does kind of skew that whole like circadian rhythm thing. I'm up in the night, but that works for me because just the exhaustion is too much for me to like try to go through my work well. So I just try to take a nap or a really long nap and then get to work and then again go back to sleep, because we do need more than 4 hours of sleep, guys. We're not encouraging you know,
No all-nighters, guys.
And then another thing that works for me is definitely like planning out your weeks or like weeks ahead too. Like if you know you have practice, put that on a calendar. Like practice. If you know you have something to do, you know you have tests, put that on like a calendar or schedule somewhere so you can see it. Like that really helps you to know like, oh, should I start something now? Should I start something later? Don't do things last minute. If you're over the weekend, you're like, oh, I've already finished my work. Start on something that you know that is due in a couple days, in a couple weeks. Like that will help you when that week comes and you realize, oh, we have meets, oh, we have this, and I don't really have much time. Like, oh, you already started something, so that work will be a lot less for you to do, or that work will be completely done, so that you don't have to do it then. So that's a big thing that's worked for me, like doing things ahead of time, so I don't have to do them on the actual deadline.
Yeah, the biggest enemy for you is procrastination, because you gonna be grasping for air. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, procrastination be winning sometimes, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But for me, I like Amblessed, naps. Like Nylah can attest to this. If I don't answer the phone, I'm asleep, and I'm asleep almost all the time. So I do not have 6 AP classes, but I do have internships. I have an internship and 2 jobs, so that can get pretty hectic on the schedule. So I have a half-day schedule, so when I get my 2 classes done, I go home, I'm asleep. Then I maybe wake up 10 minutes before I have to leave, get dressed, then I go to practice. But, like, having that time just to sleep, like, honestly, guys, sleeping is so... I can talk about sleeping for
So
hours.
nice. It's my favorite activity.
I love napping. Like, napping is really good for the mind, body, and soul. But when you're not asleep, like Amblessed said, it's nice to have things planned out. You can't just be jumping from here to here. And also, don't just, if you're done, don't just sit down and be like, okay, yeah, I'm done. Be productive. The best way to combat procrastination, okay, I procrastinated on this, but now I was productive. So that kind of like, I kind of saved myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think for me, I don't take as many AP classes, and I'm only involved in 2 honor societies. But I feel like when you need to be able to balance your time, you need to figure out like your rhythm. You have to really take into account of every single thing that you do. That's why they give us our success guides or your planner. I like to use my success guide. I literally write down everything that's coming up, upcoming dates for assignments. I write down when I have soccer practice, whether it's canceled or not, and just making sure that you're constantly in communication with your coaches and your teammates, and taking care of like your mental health is also really important. Something I like to do is I take at least 30 minutes of trying to do something that I want to do, whether it's like journaling, coloring, like something that you want to do that you are genuinely interested in, because sometimes being a student athlete, that takes away you being able to do stuff that you want. So when you do have that time to do what you want, take it to yourself.
Yeah, Nylah brought up a really good point. Like hobbies are really nice to have, so that you can do something other than like these like kind of stressful things with school, and even sometimes sports can be really stressful. But like listening to music or like coloring or doing whatever thing, drawing, that is really nice for you, or that kind of puts you in that space of like decompressing. That's a really helpful thing for you to have. But on the flip side, sports can also be that avenue for you too. That was another pro that we could bring up. Like sports can be that way to get away from school. Like, you know, we always talk about the bodily functions of the endorphins or like dopamine or whatever hormones and neurotransmitters are emitted from your brain while you exercise. That does help you kind of like de-stress from school after that long day. And you do have those runner highs when you're done from your sport and you are like not even that tired. You're kind of energetic and ready to do like productive things. So just remember that as another pro for doing a sport.
Yeah, and it's like really like kind of what everyone was saying. Like whatever you're gonna do it well. Like if you're gonna sleep like you got the wind knocked out of you. Like you take that nap. If you're gonna get up, like do your work. Like don't think about sleeping. Live in the present and just do what you got to do when you're doing it. Yeah.
So I think we can also start talking about like, obviously we've been talking about what it's like to be a student athlete, but what about being interested in being a student athlete? A lot of times they have interest meetings for sports. Go to those. They are going to give you so much information, and you're going to be able to hear from other players and other people telling you like, this is what this sport entails. Are you up for the challenge? And I think everyone here can like kind of attest to that and talk about like, oh, it's so important to get involved and to really go to those interest meetings and ask questions and communicate with those people.
Yeah, definitely. Because like one of the main things for me is like what I did lacrosse last year too, and I did go to interest meetings. So like I got like at first I wasn't going to do it because I didn't think like I was like up to it. But like talking to people that have done lacrosse in the past and how they emphasize building up your skill and whatnot. So basically that like has allowed me like that made me think like, okay, yeah, that's definitely something I'm willing to try out. And like I did enjoy lacrosse. And like I did have a good time last year. So like exposing yourself and like asking about like what the sport entails, going to the coaches, talking about like that you're interested, because the coaches, they always look for new players. And like that's one of the main things, especially Mr. Donaldson, because like he be recruiting in the hallways. Like he is like
screaming down the halls.
Seasons before.
Yeah, he definitely like, and also for incoming freshmen, they do like, I think it's like at their orientations, they also had like set up tables for you to like meet the coaches, and like they talk about like what you might experience and whatnot. So yeah, like attending those, like if you're incoming freshman, however, or like going to the interest meetings for the sport that they announce on announcements on a regular basis. But yeah, like that's one of the main things that like helped me like personally like try new stuff.
Yeah, and a big thing with sports is definitely you have to compare and contrast each and every one of them. Like if you're interested in multiple sports, just think about like what that entails, again, with like the practice or the hours. Like some sports require like extra gear. Like, are you ready to buy like that lacrosse stick or that specific shoe that you have to get, or this and that? Like some of them require more of you that you need to buy or pay for, and some require less. Some require like you to give your time in extra games or like late practices. Like I know with basketball, sometimes they start at like 5 o'clock because they have to do a study hall first, or sometimes they have games like over the winter breaks, things of that sort. So definitely know what you're getting yourself into when you go into those interest meetings. Ask all the questions like Nylah said, and so that you're like prepared for whatever you want to choose to do.
Yeah, like I remember freshman year, like I had a whole moral conflict for spring sports because I was like, do I do track? Do I do tennis? Because I'd played tennis before. Or do I do lacrosse? Which like they were like, oh, we'll teach you, you know. And I was just like, I don't know, because like obviously I know that I could do track and like I could somewhat do tennis, but like I've never done lacrosse. And so I feel like it's so like difficult to know what you're doing, but you do have to like obviously make a decision at some point, and you have to like, it's important not to live with any regrets. Like you don't want to go into a sport and like if you hate it, don't do it next season. Try something else. And then like while you're doing it, like if you really know that you don't want to do it, like you are sure, like you can quit. Just, communicate with coaches. Don't just like stop showing up, tell them that
communication is so important.
And
2 weeks notice.
yeah, exactly. Put in your 2 weeks. But then like, even, there's days when everyone wants to quit their sport. So like you can't, yeah.
Like we say it a lot. Like I will say it every day, but
yeah.
You don't actually mean it, guys.
I don't mean it.
Right. So like just keep going, And like if you really, really hate it, you can quit. But just don't like quit and then like regret it for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because like the experience that you gain from it is just like invaluable.
And that's definitely a tip we have for people like going into a sport, going into tryouts. Like tryouts weeks are the worst. Like especially like for me, I remember 9th grade year cross country after like not doing cross country for like a year or so. That was painful. And of course, after the first day, you're like, no more. I'm not doing it ever again. Like my body was in pain for 5 days. It was not good. But I will stress so much that don't quit the first day. Don't even quit the first week. Like feel it out for a little bit. It's definitely hard, but know that the people on the team have been through that. They've experienced what you've experienced, and we all know that you're capable of doing the sport. We all know that you're capable of making it through tryouts. So I think that my biggest encouragement is just keep pushing until like you're 100% sure that you can't do it. But you can't. Like you'll be so surprised how much your body can withstand. You'll be so surprised the benefits and the growth that you'll see by the end of the season if you really keep going.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely remember like my very, very first year.
Oh yeah.
I definitely remember like my very first year, and I was really nervous at tryouts. And when I got done, and remember, this is soccer, so we're outside. It's burning hot. It's like late August, and I just remember like my coach just kept pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. And there were times where I was like, I feel like I can't do this anymore. And that's where that team aspect comes into play, where like the seniors are going to come up to you and they're going to be like, you got this. Like, you're going to continue to do it. Like, we're trying to encourage you to push through. Like, going into my senior year this year, I was like, I get to be able to do that for someone, because I know that this new coach is going to be hard on us. And I know that he's going to be hard, especially on the freshmen, because they are the future of our team. But I definitely think it's very important to push through, like, your tryouts. And also, if you are, like, 10th to 12th grade, be the person to be like, you got this. Like, you can keep going, because you know you can. It's just the feeling that you have in the moment, but it's not going to last forever. Like, you can do it.
Yeah, and like back to what you were saying about like if you play a fall sport, like your beginning practices are going to be so hot. Like, and they're going to be like in the beginning, sometimes they have them like in the early morning or like in the afternoon, cuz school hasn't started yet. And so it's so hot. It's like that mid-August weather where it's just like it's like almost 90 degrees and you want to collapse, because on top of all of like the physical work that you're going to be putting in, like, and like that's the part of the season where they're going to be pushing you like really hard, because they're like seeing what you can do, they're testing your limits and everything. And so you're just going to want to die. But
You can do it.
but you got this.
Yeah, along with that, also spring, climate change. So like we've been hitting that winter, like the beginning of spring season. So that hail, that snow, like it's going to be coming down, and they're going to be thinking we're made of steel or something like that. Mm-hmm. So just got to be ready for the worst. And then once you're done, you can be like, hey, I lived through this,
And Dalvin doesn't cancel practice for nothing.
No,
like
he does not.
Last year, it was freezing. We had 3 shirts on, a jacket, hoodie, everything. He couldn't even recognize us
practicing with my coat on.
Yes.
It was ghetto.
We had so many layers on, and we had practice. Like the lacrosse ball is so heavy. It was flying in all directions. You're going to have practice. You will.
Yeah, but like one of the things about like, even though the conditions that you're practicing in initially are like they seem to be impossible, it always gets better. Like for me, like I love fall sports because I know once we hit that late October, November weather, oh my God, it's the top tier. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. Yeah. That nice wind that be breezing by. So like it all gets better, even though you have to deal with literally like being like put in the middle of the Sahara and like type of like climate stuff. But yeah, it always gets better.
Yeah, and another thing that you definitely need to consider when you're going into thinking of what sport you want to choose is your transportation, because a lot of the times the coaches don't want to be sitting there until whenever o'clock when your parents want to come and pick you up. So definitely know like you have a ride available, and sometimes it's not just at the school. We don't have a field, we don't have a track, we don't have any of those things. So sometimes we're going to Arbutus, sometimes we're going to Canesville, sometimes we're going to wherever in the world. CCBC. What's that one place called?
Spring Grove.
Yeah. Going to all those places. Can your parents come and pick you up from there? Like you don't want to be sitting out in the open, a random public park area, and just be by yourself. So make sure that you're going to be able to be picked up. Make sure that your parents know what time they need to pick you up.
Yeah, that's so important, because I know it gets annoying when maybe you're like the captain of the sport and your coach is like, where are your teammates? Like, can you take them home? Like, can you get them to practice? All this stuff. Like, you have to have that situated and seriously talk to your parents about it, because at one point it will get to a point where like you are so into the sport and you're at like the height of your season and you really need to be there like consistently.
Also, make sure your parents are in the conversation. Like, you can't just make this decision on your own, believe it or not. So you have to sit down and talk with them, because for all sports, you definitely need a physical. Physicals are money, so you got to get that done. And if it expires, they're going to snatch you up real quick. from tryouts, from the game, from practice, they're going to snatch you up because ain't no way the liability is going to be on them. BCPS will not take that. So you have to make sure you have your physical and it's up to date, and you have to make sure you have good transportation.
Yeah, while you say that, let me check and see if my physical. I might not be able to run this spring, so I don't know.
Yeah, last year they literally pulled me out of the class that my coach was teaching, and they told me, they were like, "Oh, your physical expired. You can't go to practice for the rest of the week." And then like she pulled me over like after I came back, and she was like, "What was that about?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't go to practice." And she was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Okay."
So moral of the story, have your stuff together, guys. Make sure you get it done. I think one of our last few points is kind of the leadership aspect of being an athlete. So I feel like I can attest to this for a little bit because I was captain of the soccer team for 2 years. And I can say that it's definitely a lot to take on when you have when you have a leadership role in a sport, because that means like everyone's counting on you. You have to be the person that's there for your teammates, the person that's always cheering someone on and willing to be the teacher and willing to do all these things and really looking out for your teammates. And for me, it did get overwhelming. I felt like I got overwhelmed because I felt like I was handling a lot with school and being the captain and trying to make sure that everybody's ready for their sport, because everybody knows not everybody's going to be prepared. There's no reason why somebody has to be like, Nylah, do you have socks? Like, I know I have like 4 pairs, but you don't have to come to me. Like, you have to be able to look out for your teammates, and it can get overwhelming, but it's also a really great experience to be able to be recognized by your coach to be that leader. And that's something that you can be able to write on your resume or tell colleges about, because you're telling them, like, I have these skills to be a leader and I have what it takes to be a leader. And it's such a rewarding thing, even though it can get overwhelming.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because like for me, I also took up a leadership role with my fall and winter sports, and like with that being said, you have to lead by example, because the coaches are looking for you to be that influence for the newer, like incoming freshmen or new people to the sport to look up to. And like it's certainly embarrassing, like when you're not prepared, because you have to be on top of yourself. Because I remember it was this one time, it was like I think PSAT day, we had a meet. And I could not find my shorts. So like I was really scrambling around the house looking for my shorts, and like I could not find them. And I had to call the coaches and like ask for shorts. And then I was late to the bus also that day. And like it's not a good outlook. Like being a leader, like you have to preach positivity all the time. You have to be like, although like it's okay to joke around, but like you have to like also be sensitive to like other people, like where their limits are, like what you can and can't say. I mean that's general social skills, but like it's very important, especially when you're a captain. And like going back to like how like for colleges as well, like one of the main things they look for is like, yes, the academics are the big thing, yes, the extracurriculars are the big thing, but like what amplifies your application even more is like having leadership roles. And like for me personally, that like for UMD, I got into like this Civics US program, and like that's also played a part like because like I have these leadership roles. So yeah, like being captain, like it's great, and like I love like being seen as like an influence for like, and like setting like sort of a legacy for like the oncoming years, because like it's like a great thing to do. And but like yeah, there's also a lot of like stuff that you have to consider.
Yeah, and it's not just being a captain, but being a senior in the sport as well. Like for me, for lacrosse, I've been playing lacrosse for a long time. So Dawdlin, the coaches kind of leaned on me to like to help everybody out, just to be that extra hand, that extra push, because encouragement will do full circle. It will come back around. So that one day when you're down, they will come to pick you up as well. And in the track season, I'm gonna shout out Bellama. I love you, Bellama. If you're gonna have to watch this, I'm gonna force you to watch this. But me and Bellama, we have that very like I think it's like older sister, little sister like type relationship in track. So Bellama, she's a junior, I'm senior. So we just always push each other, and I'm always encouraging her to be better, because if you know Bellama is speedy. Like Bellama is that, she's really top notch. Like
the best.
right, like she is the GOAT. She's going to be that senior year. Like, she's going to get everything, all the accolades and stuff, because she deserves it. But, yeah, I'm always pushing Belma. I'm always texting her and telling her that she got this. She got this. She got this. You got this. So, yeah, just be that person, because you never know when somebody will need it. And everybody just secretly wants that encouragement, that person by their side. So to have that is like a really great relationship.
Yeah, and it's one thing to just
I love
be
you, Belma.
It's one thing to just be a team member, but it's another thing to rise above that, like, you know, default position and be something that the coach can, you know, rely on or lean back on. You know, even something as simple as leading the warm-up lines like we do in cross country, or just being that knowledgeable veteran in a sport that can, like, tell people, like, you know, sometimes they ask us what's the course like in a specific place, or what can they expect from a specific course that we're running in the practice, things of that sort. Because you are the leader, you are the experience that they don't have. So definitely looking up to you, and definitely like asking out, like reaching out to you as that point of contact in the sport. So are you ready to be in that position so that you can talk about that later, so that you can like look back on that, and you know, even just like reaching out to look after the freshmen or the newbies, you know, like asking them what their name is, incorporating them in the conversation. That's something that you need to be ready to do, because, again, it's not just being that default, I'm coming to practice, I'm going home, come to practice, I'm going home. No, can you rise above that and be something that the team can not forget or the team looks out for?
Yeah, because, like, I mean, naturally, like, as you develop seniority in a sport, like, the coaches know that you're more experienced, and even, like the newbies, they start to look up to you more, and you don't want to be that one person, like, the one senior that they can't talk to, or even if you're, like, a junior or whatever. Like, you don't want to be the person that they can't talk to. You want to be approachable, and, like, they should be able to be comfortable around you, because you're spending 2 hours being absolutely disgusting, with sweat all around you. Like, you should be able to make them feel at home, you know? Like, be nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, being a leader comes from a lot of things, and I also think being a leader doesn't really entail, like, oh, you have to be a senior to be a leader. No, not at all. I became captain as a sophomore, and I'm like, what the heck? But you can be a leader at any grade level, because, hey, you might learn something from somebody older, you might learn something from somebody younger, and being a leader is allowing yourself to be a teacher and really, really stick out for somebody else. And being on a team and being that leader is you are defending them, and you're basically being their big sister, big brother, or really looking out for them on all aspects, not just in the sport. Like, you can be a teacher of the sport. Shout out to Alyssa, because she really came through for me. But you can be a teacher, and you can also be a best friend, a big sister, big brother, etc.
Yeah, and being a leader, again, like, there's a bunch of traits and qualities that entails. It's not just being the best of the sport. It's not just being, again, a senior. You can be a senior and not be a leader. It's being, like, humble. It's being willing to teach. It's being, like, compassionate. There's a lot of skills that go into that. If you're not demonstrating those skills, don't expect to be a leader. And if your leader does demonstrate those skills, be ready to, like, follow them. Be ready to, like, listen to them. Be ready to work with them. Like, it's hard to be a leader when your teammates can't follow you and when your teammates can't listen to you. So don't be that teammate that makes it harder for your leader, for your captain, whether they're in a grade below you, whether they're in a grade above you, whether they're in your grade. Show them that sign of respect, listen to them, and just help one another out.
Yeah, I think it's so important, because you really never know who's watching. Like, I didn't know 9th grade year, like, the senior captains were watching me and, like, noticing, like, oh, I have these aspects. Like, we as seniors, like, I think we can all attest to this, but when we see you guys as freshmen, sophomore, juniors, we see something in you that maybe you don't see in yourself, and we're going to tell the coaches about that. Maybe the coach doesn't see it, but we see it, and we want you to be proud of it, and we want you to really, really take advantage of it and own it. Like, you are a leader at heart, and you have the capability of doing it. Are you really going to put yourself aside to let other people shine? Or are you going to help other people shine and also shine it your way?
Yep, I definitely agree with you, Nylah. Because, like, one of the main things that I do personally, like, for track season, like, I, like, the coaches know what they're doing, obviously, but, like, being a captain, you also, like, get, like, you can also help them, like, put everybody in, like, the best position to succeed. Because, like, I, like, being teammates with some people from cross-country season, I know, like, what their strengths are, what events they would be good at, what events they may not be good at. So, like, like the main thing is like ensuring that everybody like is put in a situation like where they're best at, and like being captain, like I like having like that influence because like I want to see like this person to like do well in this. I want to see this person do that, and like even though they may not know like they have that strength, like you'll be like we see a lot like going on, and like we know like these people are going to do well in certain conditions and these people aren't. So like yeah, that's one of the other aspects of being.
So to conclude, we're just going to go through some of our key takeaways for being a student athlete. First is don't take any of it for granted, because we're all seniors and now it's like, for me, it's over. So make sure you enjoy every last minute of it.
Also, don't leave high school regretting not doing a certain sport. Like, the pain from the sport hurts, but regret hurts so much more. You don't want to feel that ever.
Wow, that was deep.
Yeah, and like another thing is like don't quit halfway through. Finish that season even through the thick and thin. Just make it through, but still know your limits. If you need to, then please talk to a coach, talk to somebody about it. But like you want to make sure you try to finish at least.
Yeah, and another big thing that we honestly didn't touch on that much is if you didn't get through the tryouts the first time or in the first sport that you wanted, don't be discouraged if you didn't make it. If you do really want to do that sport, try again next year, build your skills, run a little more, practice a little more, and you could make it. So don't think it's an end-all, be-all. Also, if you didn't make that sport the first time, but you want to try a different sport the next season, do that too. You have free will. You have all the opportunities for 4 years, 3 seasons each year. There's a lot of time for you to do something that you really will end up loving.
And just overall, let being a student athlete be the reason why you have good habits. I mean, there are definitely some student athletes who are struggling, but I think that I can speak for all of us here. Like, we've all, kind of perfected our craft. We've all sort of, developed what has worked best for us. And, I feel like we really have gotten really good habits out of it. And, we can carry these for the rest of our life. And so can you.
And yeah, hopefully with all this, we've encouraged you to try out for this upcoming spring season. And the form relief date for that is February 27th. So make sure you get that done and you have your physical up to date.
Also, be aware of all of our different sports that we have. So if you're interested in playing a fall sport, winter sport next year, these are the sports we have.
So our fall sports, we have football, soccer, cross country, volleyball, badminton, and golf.
For winter, we have indoor track, wrestling, and basketball.
And for spring, we have lacrosse, tennis, baseball, softball, and outdoor track.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. And
hey, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we see you guys at the next trial or we see your name on the sign up sheet. Check it out. 3, 1, 2, 3. Check it out.